guys, thanks for tuning in. This is Optibotimus coming to you with another video review. And on today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at the new Transformers Siege Leader Class Ultra Magnus. Now, if you watched my video of the Leader Class Shockwave, you probably noticed that I wasn't too impressed with that guy. Not that it was a bad figure, just price point wise at $50, bleh. This guy actually I'm a little bit more interested in. He looks considerably bigger, and Ultra Magnus always had basically an Optimus Prime figure with like armor on it. So at least it works a little bit better. Unlike Shockwave where they put armor on it that was completely pointless, at least this kind of works. For the package though, you do have that nice new Siege packaging with the open window that fully showcases the figure. You got the name, you got Transformers Siege, part of the War for Cybertron trilogy, Transformers. The side here, you got a really cool image of Ultra Magnus. I really love the way that looks. You come around the back here, and this is what I was talking about. You got images of Ultra Magnus in his combat ready mode, which is this armored up look, which again, that works. Taking all the little bits that make up the trailer and everything to transform the guy to look like this is fantastic. You can see you do have a truck mode and then that like white Optimus Prime. Although what's cool is that's not just a white Optimus Prime. That looks a little bit different. It does look similar. Some of the parts look the same, but there are enough changes in there that it doesn't just look like a white repaint of Optimus, which I love. And then of course you got an image of that guy. But for the packaging on this guy, that's about it. So without further ado, let's get him out here and see how cool he actually is. Alright guys, so here we have the new Transformers Siege Leader Class Ultra Magnus opened up and out of his packaging. And right up front, if you guys saw my review of that Leader Class Shockwave, I was absolutely disappointed in the price point for that figure. The toy was actually pretty good, but it just really let me down in terms of the price point. Shockwave never looked like that. At least with Ultra Magnus here, a lot of what's going on with him is actually how he was. So for me, the price point on this guy, while still a little bit higher than I would really like, it's not as egregiously bad as Shockwave's. Taking a look at his vehicle mode, obviously as you can see, he's a big truck thing, tractor trailer, I don't even know, but the one thing that does kind of stink is you can't open the back section to have any vehicles fit in. This is all just kind of closed off and locked in this position, but he still looks really darn cool. As you can see, you can peg his weapons into a whole bunch of different areas. Obviously, you do have the more classic looking Ultra Magnus missile launchers here. You have some guns. These can, of course, be removed. And again, you can kind of position them really however you want. You can put them down like this. That actually looks pretty good when you leave it down like that as opposed to having it dangle up high like that. I kind of like that. You can also take his silver gun here. You can peg it into the back here. One thing I'll say is that this little hole right here, when you put this through, it's kind of like wobbly in here. It's not a very secure hold. You got a hole up here that's a little bit better, but again, I don't know if I really like that up there, but you do have weapon storage for them. I suppose you could probably figure out a way to put it on the inside to hold it, or you put it here along the side. Anything that you would basically want. So getting these out of the way because we're not going to really need these for right now. But taking a look at the overall kind of presentation of them, obviously you have that very Ultra Magnus sort of look with the white cab, the blue and red trailer section. You got some nice silver paint here on the rims of the tires. It doesn't rotate or anything, so like the whole thing needs to turn like this. Obviously there's not a trailer hitch here where the cab will turn and then the trailer part goes along with it, so it is all locked into place. That's not terrible though if you ask me. You got some gorgeous detail in the front here. I like the nice paint wash, and they do have the battle damage sort of thing going on here. We didn't really have that with Shockwave, so it's nice to see that brought back in. It just gives a little bit more of a realistic look. I wish it was put throughout more of the figure. That's kind of that theme with all of these Siege figures that it looks good. It's just they only put it in certain areas, so it kind of makes some look great, and then it's like, where's the rest of it? You can see you have a nice blue translucent section up here for the window, and then the little grill area. Got a gorgeous looking Autobot logo there in the front, and a pretty good size, I would say. I mean, again, it's a leader class figure, so I mean, people are going to, I guess, still complain about that leader class price point, but bringing in a couple deluxe figures from the Siege line, you can see that here's Hound and here's Sideswipe. You put the two of them there, and it's about the same length, I would say, as Ultra Magnus here. So that's a pretty good size, I think. I can dig that. And then for another comparison, let's bring in Optimus Prime from the Siege line in his truck mode. One thing that I absolutely love, and I kind of mentioned this in the packaging portion, is that most of the time Ultra Magnus is just like a white repaint of Optimus Prime. This guy is definitely not just a white repaint. It's, from what I can see, a completely new figure. There are elements that are similar in terms of the design, like the legs going backwards, the arms swiveling around here, but on the surface, I don't really see anything that's been reused other than some kind of design cues, which really does impress me. And like I said, just gives a much better feel than just a white repainted Optimus Prime. Now, to transform him, yes, he is a bit of a parts former, but again, nothing that Ultra Magnus really wasn't before. So that's where this doesn't bother me, because he had that, whereas Shockwave, again, did not. First, we're going to just pull all this apart, and these all tab along the side very securely. Go ahead and swivel that all the way to the back. Do that on this side as well. Just pull all of this away. This tabs in fairly securely along this top section, so you kind of have to really get in there and pull it out. Come on, dude. There we go. And that'll probably knock everything off like that, but let me pretend you didn't see me do that. So you put that right back there. Okay, yeah. Okay, so now that we have that like so, we're gonna come around and kind of flop this towards the back, take this section, pull this out. Now, this is just the standard truck for Ultra Magnus or White Optimus Prime. We're going to set that off to the side, because everything else here basically detaches and then becomes Ultra Magnus. So kind of flip this around to the back. This little section here, this tabs in like that. Just pull that apart, and then take these. Don't just pull these. They actually kind of lock in by going on top like that. So just slide that back, put this, and then set this back like that. You don't want to close it all the way yet, because these are going to go on his shoulders, and this is going to lock in. So just kind of leave it like that for right now. Set that off to the back side. Come around here. You can then split these pieces apart, and all of this is going to fold in and accordion on itself. I always kind of forget how that, there we go, like that, and then that's going to wrap around his legs. So just kind of lock that in there, and you have one of Ultra Magnus's legs done. This really does kind of feel, if you guys remember, one of the very original I guess third-party items was the City Commander set, and this really does kind of remind me of the City Commander set, and a little bit better, to be totally honest with you. I think that this is a little bit better than that was. So set those off to the side. And then we have this section here. This is going to fold down, and then take these just peg on here like that, and that's going to become his forearm pieces. So just pull that apart, fold this up like that, fold that down, take this bottom section, fold this in, and basically you're seeing the makings of Ultra Magnus in his armored up form. For this guy, again, you can see that, I mean, you're not really going to be using this as a separate truck, I don't think. You might, but I don't imagine a lot of people doing it. But he does have a separate robot mode. We're going to rotate these legs down and then split them apart here. Fold out his heel, just like that, on both sides, and then these arms swivel around. Don't lock them in just yet. You just swivel them around like so. Rotate this towards the back, and then this whole section slides up like so, and then you collapse the torso bit all the way back. It's a little bit tricky to do, but just give that a nice little push. fold down the hands, rotate his fists around, fold that, and then keep this from locking in. Fold this section down. Again, it locks in there very securely. Rotate his head around, put that back, and then you can fold this in and lock that into place. And here you have Ultra Magnus in his unarmored up mode. But again, he really does look like a white Optimus Prime, except he doesn't utilize any of that same molding from the previous figure. You can take his guns, you can have him hold both of them very stiff guns, or you can have him hold the big giant gun. I kind of like the big giant gun just for Ultra Magnus, kind of like the smaller guns here for Ultra Magnus Mini. Mini Magnus. So you do have this. Now, setting him there, let's do some more comparisons for the sizing with some of those other figures that I just recently brought out. Now, first, I do want to bring out that unarmored look for Shockwave. And as you can see, the size really is fairly consistent. I mean, I know I gave this guy a hard time, but if you paid very close attention, I had no problem with the figure. I just felt that the price point really wasn't worth it. He's still a terrific looking figure. I just really wish we would have just gotten this without all of his armor parts, which obviously does inflate the price. Now, bringing in a deluxe size figure, here he is with Sideswipe, and you can see, again, this figure in this base mode is roughly a Voyager size. So obviously there's going to be a difference, but bringing in that Voyager class Optimus, this is really where you can see that the sizing here is kind of what I was talking about. This guy, as a base model, is basically a Voyager figure. Now, one thing that is amazing, coming in to take a closer look, like I talked about, there is almost nothing that I can see that is reused. Is the head? The head might be reused. That might be it. The head might be the only thing that's reused on him. Everything else, I mean, like this whole section right here, this moves up. So, I mean, while that has a similar look, it's not the same. When you look at the upper shoulder section, this one here on Ultra Magnus, bringing this out a little bit, you can kind of see that the Ultra Magnus one is thicker. So, I mean, even that part, which I would have imagined possibly being reused. The forearms are different. The torso is completely different. The thighs completely different. The waist, the hips, the legs here are all completely different. The feet are completely different. Everything on this guy, other than the head, I'm thinking. Because honestly, the head does look the same. It's incredible to me how much they were able to kind of replicate in an Optimus Prime looking figure without just repainting him. I mean, this is absolutely gorgeous. I love what they did with this guy. Again, staying in so you can see the detail. One thing that I would talk about here is these little pieces right here. As you can see, Optimus Prime didn't have them. They kind of push these shoulders out a little bit more so that when you do attach these forearm bits to this, it gives a little bit more space there. As you can see, you got a little gap there. It's more designed for those little shoulder or forearm bits, which I do appreciate. Great detail in the chest area. You have this nice translucent blue on top of what looks like silver painted details underneath it. Great detail with the whole thing. I mean, you do have this just kind of white-ish sort of thing. It's not even fully white. Like, this is a much whiter color than this. I don't know how well that's going to come across, but you can see you got some nice wash on the thighs, kind of breaking it up. Again, I do kind of wish that that was spread throughout the entire figure, but you really don't have that, which is definitely unfortunate. You got a nice little Autobot logo there, pretty devoid of paint other than those aspects, which is fine, because again, should be just a white Optimus Prime. So that really does help out tremendously. His articulation, his head is on a ball joint, so you get a nice range of motion there. The shoulders do rotate, and then you have a hinge in and out. You got a swivel here at the upper part of the bicep. You have a hinge here at the elbow. The wrists do rotate, which is nice. Come down to the actual waist. That also does rotate. You do have fairly solid ratchet joints here, which does really help, especially when you put on those bigger bits. So you can move forward and back, moves in and out, rotate at the upper
upper part of the thigh. He bends here at the knee, and then you come down to the ankles, and that just pivots in and out like so. So you can get some semi-cool looking dramatic poses. Not really. So now to armor him up, and again, I'm going to do some comparisons with him armored up. You're going to just take this leg, this slides in. Oh, take the little foot section, tuck that in. You just bring that in, and for the most part, you just push it in and it locks it into place already. So that's really nice. The conversion here is very simple. Like I said, better than that City Commander, which was a giant pain. And you can already see that he's really bulking up very nicely. Come down here to these arm segments. Open this piece up, and then you got a little post and hole section right here. I do wish that you could post it on this side, because as it is, you're going to put this here and lock this into place, and then bring this around. Make sure you give that a nice little squeeze, and then you have that really nice paint wash detail on the inside here. I wish you could do it where it would be on the outside. I think that that would look a little bit better, but there's not a post on the inside here to really do that, so you're kind of stuck leaving it like that. So let's get that lined up, push that in like that. Again, make sure you get that all the way in and squeeze. It's a little bit better kind of to push, that way it closes all that gappage right there. So and then the other thing that you have to do is take this section here. We're going to slide this all the way down, or we'll pull this out. It's really stiff here, so let's detach these arms. Come on, detach the arms, fold this section down. We're going to rotate his head and then put that back like that. Then this whole section here has to pull away. There we go. Pull that away, and then you want to slide this down, keep that lined up, and then it slides all the way down on that track like so. That creates all the extra space that you're going to need for everything else. Otherwise, take this piece, you bring this over, you just push this in there. You got little clasps on the inside here that lock in on his spine, so you just line that up, push that there, and then you can at this point you can connect these arms again, and then bring this down and make sure these little panels line up that lock everything up here into place. So again, push that there, push that all the way down. Here, let me, feel like I don't have that all the way down. There you go, something like that. Oh, and the other thing is you do need to take this, fold this piece out, rotate that around, bring that back up, and then you got little slots right here that are going to lock in his chest bit right there, and you can see what's happening. Last section, come around here to the back, take these. You want to make sure that obviously this is facing the back, so, or on the side. No, yeah, it's going to go like that. So then you just plug this in just like that, and then push that all the way up. That kind of locks that into place. Do that on this side, drop it. Do that on this side as well. So slide that all the way in, push that all the way up. That locks that into place. Keep that up like so. Now, yes, he does have a big booty, but when you're done, there you have Ultra Magnus proper. And this guy really does look cool. And like I said, all of that armor stuff makes sense with him, where Shockwave, it didn't. So the $50 price point on this, well, yeah, it's still up there. I feel is a lot more justified here. And again, yeah, I know that the $50 price point is difficult to swallow for a lot of people, but as I said, at least this armored up look makes sense, and all the extra parts work and incorporate with the figure far better than that Shockwave. Now, you can also further, obviously, upgrade him with his little shoulder cannons. You just come around here to the side, put that in there. Again, that just helps to round out the look. You do have all of his different weapons. You can have him dual wield these. Oh, no, that's Optimus Prime. So you can have him dual wield these. Personally, I prefer using these and displaying these with that core figure. So for these, what I'll do is come around here to the side, and you got these little pegs and holes and everything along the side here of his legs. that I'll just put in there, and it kind of fits along the side there pretty nicely. There's a lot of peg holes all over the place. You could put these in the back, you could put that on his arm, you can put these on his shoulder, whatever you want to do. So put all that there, and then this big giant gun I like using for him. So I think that is a really cool look for him. I love the aesthetic on this guy. One thing that's very cool, and I didn't touch on this in the robot mode, is that what is really cool is that while you get a G1 looking Ultra Magnus, here, the vehicle mode 100% looks like that original RID Ultra Magnus. I know somebody's probably already left a comment in the comment section about that. So if you picked up on that and you commented on it, good job. But again, coming in to take a closer look at some of these details on this guy, this is a great recreation of Ultra Magnus. The head sculpt looks fantastic. You can see you have a really nice blue and silver working together to get that look for him. The red, the blue, the white, everything else on the figure looks amazing. You can see that his chest does have some of that wash on there, giving a little bit of a worn look. You can see more of it here, like with the thighs, and then also down here with the feet. That's where I was wishing that I wish you could have this on this side so that you could see that on the opposite side. Unfortunately, just the way that the pegging works, you can't do that. So that's a little bit unfortunate, but great paint detail on the shin. You can see some nice silver and red. Everything blends together very, very nicely. He does have a bit of a backpack. It's not terrible, I don't think, but I mean, he's a big, bulky dude. Like, even his legs are pretty bulky. Just the overall look, though, I think works really, really well for him. Now, some size comparisons, obviously, because, again, $50 figure, you gotta see what we're working with here. So now that you have them all armored up, here is the deluxe class Sideswipe. You can see he does get considerably bigger, which, again, works for me. Bringing in the Voyager class Optimus Prime, get him kind of there. Now, with Shockwave, it really didn't get much bigger. Honestly, you can see a good size increase here. So when you go from being a Voyager to that being a leader, I feel it works a little bit more. Now, Optimus isn't the biggest Voyager in this. I do want to bring in Megatron, who is a tad bigger than Optimus Prime, but you can see that the scale still does work, I think. The overall bulk and everything, I feel like this does have a $50 feel. And to drive that home a little bit more, here is that leader class Shockwave. And even here, you can see that Shockwave is smaller than Ultra Magnus. I mean, he has some bulk to him, but not nearly as much as that. So that's, again, where I'm saying that I feel like, number one, the parts incorporating with him make far more sense because this is how he looked. If you compare the original G1 toy to the cartoon look, all of it works here. This just doesn't make any sense because of all the weird shit that's on him. And there I go again. So, I mean, like, here. I know you guys were waiting for that, but it just doesn't really make sense to have all this on here. They really should have kept this at a Voyager figure and kept the price down. But hey, I know you're going to say, but Paul, you compare that other figure to other leader class figures that are older. So, okay, all right, so that's fair. Here is Jetfire, and yes, he is smaller still. I feel like Jetfire should be bigger, but this was a leader class figure, and so is this. So, you know, and this was cheaper than this, so fair points. And a lot of people have made the comment that a lot of the older leader class figures, such as the Titans Return Power Master Optimus Prime, this is a fairly hollow figure for the most part. And you know, people are like, yeah, but you know, that was cheaper and it's bigger, and at least these aren't hollow. That was hollow. Bleh. I get it. I still just think that, you know, in terms of the pricing and things like that, and I don't know what's going on with the global economy, but it just seems like things are getting more expensive and they're getting smaller. That's been a trend for a very, very long time, and I mean, I've kind of ignored it for the most part. Some things like Shockwave, though, really bug me. This guy, it doesn't bother me. For his articulation, it's basically the same. The head here is still on a ball joint. I mean, it is a different head, so it's not automatically going to be on a ball joint, but it is. The shoulders here do still function the same way. You do have a cut right here, so you still get that outward motion. Like I was talking about, those little sections right on the inside here, push the arms out a little bit more so this looks a little bit more natural instead of being stuck out. I mean, because as it is, you got upper sections here and lower sections that are really big, and then you got the middle section, which is a little bit small. So it does kind of make things look a little bit weird, but it's not too bad. He still does rotate at the waist. The hips still do the same thing. He still bends here at the knee. All that same articulation is still there. It does rotate at the upper part of the thigh. The ankle here, though, does have a bigger outward motion. So let's see. Can he full on? He can full on get all the way down. Get it low, get it low, get it low. There you are. There you have Ultra Magnus doing some crazy ninja stuff. So, like I said, I've said this several times. I feel that the price point is more justified on this guy, and I don't mind it really all that much. I think he turned out great. The colors look good. The sculpt look great. I like how they kind of combined two different elements with a G1 looking robot and that RID looking vehicle mode. That probably will appeal to some different generations of people, and I think that's a real cool thing. Now to transform him back, first we're going to take all these little guns off of him. Just get that off and set that kind of off to the side. Just like that. And then you basically have to just de-armor him. So come around here to the back, take these can be really tight in there, and then slide that off just like so. We're going to straighten that out because all this stuff has to get put back into the trailer configuration. So remove that, straighten this, and then you're going to bring these two sections together and they latch on. So again, don't just plug them in there. You have to set one on top of the other and then slide it down, locking that into place, and this little piece here is done. Come around here to the torso area, lift this up. This is all going to fold back, and then pull this section away like so. Then fold this all the way out, and then take this little blue section, kind of push from the inside here, makes it a little bit easier, and then fold that all the way out just like that. And there you have the other section for it. So we're going to set that there as well. Come to these forearms, pull from the inside, and then pull out. It does get, again, a little bit tight, so pull that out just like there. All right, do that on this side as well. Give that a little push and pull that out just like so. Then close these up. So these little pieces come around here, and then you want to take these, and I always kind of forget which way. I think it goes this way. Put these on these little pegs right here, just like that. If that's the wrong way, I'll probably fix that here in a minute. Come around here to the back. There are these legs. These just pull away. Set that there, and then slide this out and pull this away. Set old Optimus Prime white guy off to the side. Then this whole section here is going to accordion out in multiple different places, just like that. Now don't put anything together just yet. I'll show you all that here in a minute. Do that on this side here as well. Fold that all out just like that. Then you bring these two sections, and they're going to tab in right here, locking that there. Bring this around, and then this one of these little sections, I mean, it's a little bit tricky to get everything to line up, but it's not too terribly bad. You bring this section, and where's the back? Here we go. So these, well, I guess you could have waited a little bit. So put this here, and then you got a little slot bit right there that's going to pull into that section there. So bring that there, and that also kind of slot in there. All right, there. Son of a gun. All right, then just flop that back just like that. Bring this section right here. You want to take this and lock that in here. Oh, wait, like that. Put that in there. Now we're going to set that off to the side. Basically, that's done. For Optimus here, You got to get things all situated. So rotate this guy around and make sure that this is fully pushed towards the front where things kind of line up. Detach this along the side. These will rotate back. These will rotate back. You got a little tiny, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. There's a little tiny post right here that lines up right there. So you just bring that in, kind of lock that in there, and then squeeze that together like so. Now these arms can get a little bit problematic in terms of getting things to swoop in, because you got a little section that juts down here that has to fit in here, and it's a little bit tricky to get it all the way in, and I don't think I have that push. There we go. Push it all the way up until it locks, and then you have to push this piece down. So you got a little tab right here that locks in there. So there's not a lot of clearance here, so you kind of are forcing things to go where they need to go, and that's never a good thing. So bring that around, bring that around there, and then push this down there. And there you have the regular cab mode for it without the trailer attached to it. So then you take this little section here and you slide it in right there. That's about as far in as it's going to go. Take this section, you want to flop this down and bring this over, and this little piece, I don't know where you're going to see it. This little piece right on the inside here is going to lock in around this piece here. So just bring that in and kind of push that up so that kind of sits inside that little groove area, kind of like that. And then bring all this stuff down and in. The easiest way to do it is start here at this section, post that in, give that a little push. That'll kind of lock things into place. And then you have another little locking section right here. Just push that and you'll hear it snap in. Come around to the other side. Do that on this side as well. Just slot that bit in with some friction. Give it a good squeeze. Lock this little post area down here. And then this, you have a little hook bit right here that's going to lock into here. This is a little bit tricky to do because you kind of have to lift and move, but push it in right there and then push in along that side. Do that on this side as well. Kind of line it up, push it in, there we go. Then push this little piece in, and then to kind of complete the look, you can put his little missile launcher right there. Put this one here, and this is where I was talking about, and I didn't mention this in the beginning portion, but it really does have a look of that original RID Ultra Magnus, which is kind of cool. So I'm going to put that there. I'm going to put that there, and then this again. I mean, I kind of like putting it up in this one because it's a little bit more sturdy, but it looks a little bit weirder. So I'll just leave it there for now. But when you're done, there you have Ultra Magnus back in his vehicle mode. All around, though, a very solid figure. The biggest controversy with these new leader figures is the price point, but I really do feel like this one is a lot more worth that price than Shockwave, mostly because it works. This is a look that he had, and it makes sense to have the trailer kind of armor him up. This guy really does nicely homage a few different Ultra Magnus looks. Obviously in this you get an RID look. With the separate white Optimus and then the trailer parts and everything, you kind of get a G1 toy sort of thing, especially with the armor bits being able to attach to him to create that look. And then when you do get to that robot mode, that's a G1 cartoon looking Ultra Magnus. So a lot of really nice homages in this to several different appearances of the character. So I do give Hasbro credit a lot on this, whereas I gave them a big hassle in my Shockwave. This one turned out really good. So all that being said, if this version of Ultra Magnus is a figure that you'd like to add to your collection, he is hitting various retail locations right now. So if you're looking for him, good luck and happy hunting. Or as always, you can get them at places such as Big Bad Toy Store.
For that, I'll put a link down in the video description where you'll go to BBTS and you can check out availability on this guy as well as the rest of the wide range of Transformer figures. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. Remember, if you like this video, I would really appreciate it, guys, if you would hit that thumbs up button. It actually does go a long way towards helping me out, and I would really appreciate it. Also, I want to send a huge thank you if you made it all the way to the end of this review. Another way that you can really help support my channel is making sure that you watch a video all the way through. And if you did that, thank you. Also, I want to send a huge shout out to all of my patrons, who through their continued support, now more than ever, help to make reviews like this possible. And finally, remember that the real trouble with the world is that too many people grow up. Thank you for watching and taking the time to be a kid.
You're at your best when the going gets rough.